Judy is a professor of language at the Defense Language School and has been at the Monterey Institute of International Relations. And her book, of course, tonight, as you can see, I should pop this now to the next screen. This is Judy with some of her credentials. Grew up in Beijing, China. In her late 20s, Judy quit her job in Beijing and came to Monterey, California for graduate school. Hired by the as a Chinese language professor at the Defense Language Institute. And here she is. This is her book. It's a really interesting, quick, and very, very effective read. And we're going to get into how she's organized it and why it works so well in just a minute. But how about the most important improprieties that we are usually guilty of, or what improprieties should we avoid in these exchanges or these meetings?
Americans like to hug, right? Am I right?
Yes.
And don't hug Chinese unless they are, educated, in the Western culture or are exposed to Western culture, because that made them feel very uncomfortable, and it's too intimate. So this is one of the things. Even when I worked at the U.S. Embassy, I dealt with Americans on a daily basis. When people came in and hugged me, I didn't know what to do. But it took me a while, but now I'm a big hugger now. I like to hug everyone. So when I went back to China, actually, I had a hard time because I got so excited. So my high school friends, and they both were Western educated, went to Canada, Australia. I said, come on, give me a hug. And they just pushed me away and say, go away, we don't hug, you know that.
Are there other things like hugs that we should be aware of that are not in good taste? That we as Americans would, especially myself, for example, I'm a typical hugger, and it would be unusual for me not to hug all of my friends when we say hello or goodbye or something. But is there anything else like that American-style trait that we should be aware of?
There are quite a lot of things I can talk about, like a food item. You go to China, you definitely will eat, and a lot of times you might have a fish dish, and the Chinese like fish. And normally they serve the whole fish with the head and the tail still attached. And the fish in Chinese is pronounced, anybody? Yu, exactly. And the yu is the same pronunciation as abundance, wealth. So in Chinese culture, you symbolize abundance. So don't turn the whole fish over, because that signifies the fisherman's boat was capsized. And your wealth and all of the good fortune were gone. So that's a bad luck.
So don't turn the fish over. It stays on the plate.
Yeah.
The way it is. Fascinating. Question, sir?
Does that mean you only eat one side of the fish?
Pretty much. Or after the whole top
The question
is out,
was,
you actually get the bone out, and that's
then
how
you
you
can get
eat
them
it
out.
next. Yeah, we just don't turn it over.
There had to be
Especially if you have people who are a little bit more traditional, older, they are very particular about those things. But younger generation are more flexible.
Great question, and a good answer too. There are so many apparently simple things that we don't understand that we can avoid with this great little book she's written. And I hope to be going back to China sometime fairly soon. And hopefully you'll have your second book out by then.
Hopefully.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No,
I'd like to open the floor to any other questions you folks may have about anything that we've discussed this evening. Yes,
What's your favorite place in Beijing?
I'm sorry, a little louder?
What's your favorite place in Beijing, China?
Home.
Any other questions? Sir?
Well, into the culture side, I know Judy, and she's a wonderful dancer. I was wondering what dancing, or did you do dancing, or did you do the old dances from China?
One of the folks here knows her as a dancer, so he's questioning about her dancing experience. How far back does it go?